All right, team, welcome back to After Hours. It's going to be a phenomenal show today. I know you guys were probably coming to After Hours today and expecting, oh, these boys are about to cover the XRP ETF. They're about to cover MXRP. And we are not. We are not covering anything XRP related today. You would have thought that, considering we're big XRP bulls, our portfolios predominantly XRP. But today, with a sick joke, we're going to be talking about XLM. We're going to be talking about the Stellar Network because I was surprised. I was really surprised going into this last weekend and looking at the Meridian Conference with all these announcements, all of the real world applications coming to Stellar, all the big partnerships like PayPal, like Pantera, like Onigiri Capital coming to Stellar. And so we're going to cover all that news today. Regarding what happened at that event, all the big narratives coming out of that event, and also we're going to give Maddie's going to give a little charting session on XLM and maybe a little quick market analysis if he wants, and then at the end we'll close out with "Am I too late to invest?" All of TradFi is asking Wall Street analysts, are we too late to invest into crypto? So it's going to be a banger show. You're going to want to stick until the end. Matt, before we get into our content today, I think we have a show sponsor for today. Little company known as Crypto Charge. I've never heard of them. Do you know anything about them?
I just can't get more amped about Crypto Charge. Those guys over there seem to know what they're doing. Crypto Charge is where we're from, guys. We've been doing this program for a little over 4 years now. We're going to be entering our 5th year doing Crypto Charge full time. We do live updates Monday through Friday. We cover the charts, macro charts, micro charts, depending on what's happening price action wise. We have our coin library with entries and exits for over 20 different coins. We have our Discord community where you guys can ask questions. We have leverage trade setups in there as well for those of you guys who are looking for more short-term trade ideas in addition to the long-term ones. And of course, our learning center where there's just a plethora of resources, consistent investor strategy, technical analysis videos. Really try to bring it down to the stuff that we've thought was valuable to you guys. So if you guys are interested in that, check out cryptocharge.com. You guys want to plug in code YouTube. That gets you guys 30 days free plus 50% off any membership. So you can go with the yearly or the annual. Go with the yearly or the annual. That's your only choices. No, the monthly or the annual. Those are both 50% off. So either $49 for the month or $4.99 for the year with code YouTube. So come check it out, guys. At least get your 30 days. See if it's a good fit.
You will stay poor. You will all be piss ants to your overlords, groveling at their feet for your next stimmy if you do not buy XLM. So I want to discuss Stellar with you guys today. Just a little quick joke there. But Stellar is still one of the top blockchains in the cryptocurrency market, and this is due to development over the years, the network development, the real-world adoption we're seeing on the Stellar network, as well as innovation. And while it has their native token, XLM has probably piqued your interest at one point or another over your life cycle in crypto. And I want to talk about, because many people are likely, they enjoy themselves when they discount blockchains that are older, these legacy blockchains like the Stellar blockchain. And I think it's really because of their latest and greatest bias. And I just want to tell you guys that's very silly and fallacious. A blockchain is not great because it is old. It is not great because it is new. A blockchain is great because of its tech. And a key indicator of a great blockchain that it is proprietary is the partnerships. And last week at Meridian Conference hosted by SDF, we saw everyone, showing and showcasing what is coming, what is on, or what is coming to Stellar. We saw big partnerships like PayPal, like Pantera, like Red Swan, like Onigiri Capital, all coming to Stellar. The technical side is very interesting on Stellar though. The chart does show imbalance. That isn't to say that we can't see high price targets. We can't see these Fibonacci extensions get hit, but with these Fibonacci extensions, you have $1.49, you have $2.39, you have $3.86. For a blow-off top on XLM, we could see a $7 XLM. A question that an investor might have right now is, okay, can XLM break today's current market price of 36 cents and see a lower price in the next bear market? And the answer is absolutely yes. And Matt's going to cover that in the TA segment of the show. I just kind of want to give that little intro, a little insight there into Stellar, XLM, kind of the narratives that are surrounding Stellar, and kind of the retail narratives that people go on and on and on. And Maddie, you know, about people giving this lame bias, you know, and this isn't to say new blockchains, new digital assets aren't great. Just don't discount the old ones. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because the crypto token has been around for over a decade doesn't mean it's still not a worthy buy. I did just describe those price targets to you, and Matt's going to get into that in a little bit here. But I did want to talk about Stellar's flagship Meridian Conference focused on RWAs in emerging markets. Stellar, an OG Layer 1, founded in 2014, just wrapped up its flagship annual conference where the focus was on growing its decentralized finance and real-world asset ecosystems. And so, guys, I got to be honest here. There is so much coming out of this conference, and I'm going to briefly go through all of it, and then we're going to yap about it, okay? Stellar's flagship Mercado Bitcoin announces $200 million in RWA issuance on Stellar Network. Latin America's largest digital asset investment platform with over 4 million clients announced the company will be issuing $200 million of tokenized fixed income and equity instruments on the Stellar network. Centrifuge brings DRWA to Stellar. Centrifuge, the leading platform for tokenizing real-world assets, announced the upcoming launch of DRWA on Stellar, beginning with DJTRSY, the DeFi version of Janus Henderson's short-term U.S. Treasury strategy, and DJAAA, the DeFi AAA rated CLO strategy. The two funds will debut with a $20 million anchor investment. Next, Etherfuse CEO Dave Taylor unveiled Tesoro, a stable bond based on Brazilian central bank bonds offered 13% APY in BRL terms. So you buy Tesoro, Etherfuse goes and buys the short-term treasuries from that country, and then it operates like an interest-bearing stablecoin. Red Swan Digital, very familiar with Hedera if you guys have been watching our shows. Red Swan Digital Real Estate brings tokenized real estate to the Stellar network. Geographic barriers and high entry costs limit investment class with trad markets. This is a $380 trillion global market asset class, and blockchain tech offers a new way for regular people to invest into fractionalized shares of tokenized real estate. In North America alone, an estimated $75 trillion in real estate could be unlocked through tokenization. A little bit more about Red Swan though. They have their token studio powered by BitGo. Real estate owners can tokenize their properties and access custodial issuance and management tools. And they can offer management, asset controls, jurisdictional level compliance, and functionalities. Good, we're meeting regulatory compliance. Red Swan currently offers 2 tokenized properties on the Stellar network, so not very much, giving investors a path to build wealth through fractionalized real estate ownership. And they have an estimation of 100 million worth of real estate will be tokenized by the end of 2025. On their platform. Pantera Capital is partnering with Stellar to invest in entrepreneurs. Let me scroll down here a little bit more. So Pantera Capital is partnering with Stellar, and this is a big VC investing in blockchain for years. Hundreds of different blockchain companies, and they're looking for use cases for payments, but also for AI and deepen in the Stellar ecosystem. More money flowing into Stellar with Onigiri Capital and Stellar are partnering to drive innovation across Latin America. Seisen Capital, the VC arm of Capital's Credit Seisen, a financial institution listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, has just launched the Onigiri Capital Fund in Brazil. So the asset manager has $50 million, but they have committed $35 million to institutions in Asia and the US, including SDF, to help founders who want to export products to Asia to develop, send products to Asia, but also develop a pipeline from Latin America to Asia. Ondo Finance, the names just keep going here. We're almost done here, guys, I promise. Ondo Finance launches USDY, and PayPal USD is now on Stellar. So we have 2 big stable coins here. Ondo Finance, a leader in tokenized real-world asset, announced that the USDY, its institutional grade yield coin, is on Stellar. PayPal USD is extending their stablecoin onto Stellar, and this can do a lot, for additional wallets, platforms. You're going to get this full integration for native PYUSD stablecoins on the Stellar network. MoneyGram chairman and CEO Anthony Sohu confirmed users can hold USDC on Stellar through the company's updated application. Under the hood, the new MoneyGram app is powered by Circle's USDC stablecoin and Stellar, the fast and cheap blockchain, as well as Crossmint, a wallet infrastructure and stablecoin payments platform. Customers in Colombia, where MoneyGram has extensive retail network, over 6,000 locations, will be able to use the new app to receive and store stablecoin payments. Last two right here. Connecting Stellar to Ethereum grade ZK standards, privacy tech on Stellar, boundless, powering the proofs, wormhole as the bridge, enabling developers to build applications that go beyond what Stellar currently offers. And the last one here, which is one of my favorites, CCTP v2 coming to Stellar. This is an upgrade to USDC transfers for native interoperability, connecting Stellar to other ecosystems, to other networks like Ethereum, like Base, like Solana. This is very programmable for developers. Projects can embed cross-chain transfers directly into their dApps and seamlessly move liquidity across chains. This is going to bring more liquidity into the Stellar ecosystem. Matt, this is all the news we have. What do you think? There's a lot there. What do you think is some of the bullish narratives that you saw within there?
Yeah, we did discuss a lot. One of the things with Meridian Pay is it's open source, but what we're starting to move towards is providing platforms that are going to be easier plug and play solutions for consumers. So, right now a lot of crypto-based applications or crypto-based transactions requires some additional knowledge, right? It requires a little bit of intimacy with blockchain technology to understand what you're doing. With things like Meridian Pay, you're going to have merchants and other people who want to create smart contracts will not be able to create easier, plug and play solutions for their customers. The other thing you mentioned was USDY. I thought that was also a really, really interesting integration as well. It's going to be a yield-bearing token that is basically based on a variety of different treasuries. So you're able to essentially hold a token that can actually appreciate in value over time. It can be used for a variety of different applications, including being placed in yield pools. This is an example of essentially taking T-bonds or treasury bonds and being able to stake those or use those as collateral. I think that's very exciting. Overall, I would just say that there's been an incredible amount of growth when it comes to RWA as a whole. That's been a huge, huge focus. I would say even over the last 2 years, but especially in the last year, we've seen so much discussion over RWAs, and Stellar is really dialing that in. Again, love to see the integration with Ondo Finance. Love to see the MoneyGram integration with USDC over Stellar. There's been a lot of really great integration, and I think that when people hear us talk about XRP all the time, and they go, "What about XLM?" And it's like, okay, well, yeah, there's you could look at both of these networks and you can see the growth, and there's just two very different sets of growth here, and it doesn't make one better than the other. It's just two different types of growth, right? So you guys can have cross exposure, you guys can have both exposures, but as far as somebody who's just held too much in the past, I had to really simplify my portfolio, and I've been with XRP. So I'm really proud of the growth here. One of the things you guys will probably see, right, even though that they're two different protocols, Jed and Michaela co-created both XRPL and the Stellar Lumen network, so they utilize a lot of the same consensus. With the new WISP upgrade, they're also going to be having much cheaper and faster transactions, which is they're already very fast, and the settlement's pretty much instantaneous. So overall, very impressed with the growth that we've seen with Stellar Lumens.
For those of you that aren't aware, that have been living under a rock in 2025, Stellar has been at the top as it relates to RWA tokenization. I mean, the network is always popping up. It's always like one of the first five. You have Ethereum, you have Arbitrum, Base, and then Stellar is up with the big boys here. And I did want to tell you what this is. Stellar has Benji token, which is Frank Templeton's on-chain U.S. government money fund, which is a tokenized money market fund. So you buy one Benji token, you have one share of the fund, and this is fully recorded and transferable on-chain. The interesting part about this that I found on RWA XYZ is that Stellar has the most value of this fund on their network. So, Stellar destroys all the competition. Ethereum, Arbitrum Base, Aptos, with $479 million worth of value on Stellar from this fund. And then the runner-up, the second in line, is Arbitrum with 66 million, and then descending into Base, Ethereum, Avalanche. So that's like one big real-world tokenized fund on Stellar. But there's also tokenized products on Stellar that are notable as well. You have, tokenized fiat, which is stable coins, which is Circle's USDC, the EURC, and more additional stablecoins that we just mentioned that are coming to Stellar. That's going to bring more money into the Stellar ecosystem. And with the CCTP v2, allow for USDC to flow in and out of the Stellar ecosystem, the Stellar network, pretty easy, allowing more volume to happen within Stellar. Other notable names here, Wisdom Tree, we've talked in the past about, just launched less than 2 weeks ago, a tokenized private credit fund. And they also have, Wisdom Tree has tokenized commodities, corporate bonds, and US treasuries. Ondo Finance, GMO Trust, Etherfuse also have RWAs on Stellar. This isn't just to say, we're stacking up all the evidence here. It's like, oh, we have all this evidence of real world adoption on Stellar, all these real world assets being tokenized on the Stellar network. That's not what, I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say here is that DLT is being used today. Specifically, the blockchain is being used. Stellar's blockchain is being used for real use cases today. You're going to look back in years from now and be like, wow, maybe I should have put more real value, like USDC, or not USDC, I think in stablecoins now, not even dollars. I should have put more USD aside and invested more into XLM for my future. Matt, I think this network looks super bullish. Someone mentioned on a couple shows ago, hey, you guys are completely overlooking Stellar. And I think he was actually right. I think I was actually overlooking Stellar a lot, because after the Meridian Conference last week, I saw reps from PayPal, the reps from Red Swan, Frank Templeton reps talking about the Stellar network, and it looks like they believe it's valuable. I think I need to pay a little bit more attention. I think we will going here in the future. Maddie, any last thoughts about Stellar? Because you've had your own thoughts about Stellar, and I would also like to get some charting of XLM on the show too.
Yeah, I would definitely disagree, though, that we've been overlooking Stellar. It's on our website. It's something that's been in the coin library for a while. Gotcha. You've been looking over. I thought we were saying that we were reading the comments. People were saying we were overlooking Stellar. I was like, definitely not, because it's something we've definitely paid attention to. And prior to XRP being relisted, on U.S. exchanges, when we were trying to get a good cohort of our team to understand and be able to move money to other foreign exchanges, whether it be a KuCoin or MEXC or even using Uphold. XLM was one of our go-to solutions or moving money over to other exchanges, right? And sometimes even it was crazy that it was still more cost efficient a lot of the time than to buy the XLM, send it over, swap that for whatever you wanted. It still ended up costing less than sending, USDC over ETH, especially, when we saw network congestion get really, really high on ETH. So from a practical standpoint, as someone who's actually used the technology dozens, if not over 100 times, I can say that it's a very, very good product, right? If you get the opportunity, when you look at all the different, chains that you can send over, which is we're seeing that really expand pretty intensely here over these last, I would say, even year and a half, you're starting to see more exchanges offer 10 or more networks to send stablecoins over. When you guys do get that option and you guys start to see, XLM or, other options in there, it's going to be the go-tos, right? We're going to continue to move away from those ETH transfers, especially when we can get those things done pretty much instantaneously and for a penny or less, versus paying several dollars, if not sometimes even I've seen crazy fees on Ethereum of over $100 to send, sometimes $1,000 depending on network congestion. So from a practical standpoint, I think XLM is a fantastic tool. And, as we start to see also more cross-border payments pick up, right, and we start to see more TradFi, institutions like banks start to offer those rails up, right, that's really, really going to where we see those floodgates open. So very excited about that. Let's take a quick look at the chart here, because I know that's what we are, mostly excited about, right, as far as, those of you guys who are like, okay, great, this is a big, good fundamental start, which is where you guys should always start with the fundamentals, understand what the hell it is you're buying, right? Like, it's embarrassing when someone's like, oh, well, what is XLM? And like, you can't even explain 3 or 4 facts about what it is. You guys shouldn't be buying anything, right? So the technicals come after the fundamental research. So let's take a look at that though. Let's see what's going on with the charts here. Stellar Lumen's had a really, really great run here from the lows. So we had set the lows here in April of this year anyway. We'll just talk about the April lows first. About 150, 160% move from the April lows, currently up about 80% from those April lows. But if we zoom out here, we kind of look at what's been going on here. XLM got stuffed last cycle too, right? And you look at everything we just talked about, and we talk about the quality of the technology. Do you think the performance in 2021 was indicative of Stellar Lumen technology? Probably not, right? There was a pretty abrupt end to that last bull market as the Fed decided, oh, party's over. We need to start cutting, right? Which we should have, or we need to start hiking rates, which we should have started doing a while ago. So you kind of had this abrupt end here. So you ended up kind of just coming in for this little retrace, almost touching the previous high in here. You did the same thing back here in December. We look though from the 2020 lows, XLM is up about 1,300%. From the lows that were set over here in 2022, prices up currently about 400%. The peak was about almost 770%. So it's been a really, really great performer, right? If you look at XLM, from this cycle low to the high, it's a little bit more than what Bitcoin's done thus far. Now, when we look at what's going on here, right, and we look at where we are structurally, you've got, this clear bottom of range, right? You got this clear top of range, and they're wide ranges, but you guys can kind of see overall when you look at XLM, moving forward, it's been a sideways market. You've had rallies, you've had sell-offs, but you've really just been in a very, very tight range for a very long time. And to some extent, I think this is maybe the justification that people are looking at when they're thinking about, like, what does that blow off top look like? Because of this extended consolidation we've had, like we saw with XRP, like we saw with a variety of others, can we see something more exciting? And it is possible. So let's take a look at those ranges and see what that looks like. So first of all, we can go from the ultimate high here in 2017 because we haven't broken it yet, right? So it's a very valid high in there. We'll go down to the 2020 low. Where are we sitting right now? We're sitting just underneath that 382 Fibonacci retracement level. We're not in the blanket DCA zone, and that would be for us underneath this macro 236, and we're well above that, right? So we don't want to employ a macro blanket DCA here. It doesn't make a lot of sense. What do we have going on for us here, though, short term? I still see this W in here, right? Do you guys see this? Should be pretty clear to you guys. There's a nice little W in here. You got like a little bit of a tail, a little bit of a flag for me here. Obviously, we've had a pretty big liquidation event at the time of recording here, 9:22 around noon here. We've had a pretty good overnight liquidation event. As far as where we stopped most recently, basically wicked straight down to the lows. And we're seeing this, kind of across the board as far as alts goes. You're seeing a lot of this, like basically the lows over here from August getting struck again with some pretty good bounces in there, which is generally a good sign of a liquidation event being pretty close to completing, if not completed. So where are we structurally? We are in a spot where I would say we are buying a higher low. We were up here at these prices. I was really begging everyone and their mom to just stay away. They couldn't stay away. They got itchy trigger fingers. You're down about 30% from that high, right? And you came down about 33%. So you got about a 30% discount from those recent highs. You are sitting on top of a higher low here. Is it the absolute best risk to reward ratio? No, I think there's better ones out there. But if I'm going to look at XRP versus XLM right now, XLM every day of the week. We can measure from current market to these next areas of interest. So $1.50 gives us about a 300% move, 240 gives us about 560, and then the 4.236 is just under a 10x from current market. Of course, guys, one of the things we're looking at is what does that blow off top look like, right? What if it goes further? What if, right? I would hope that what if means a small portion of our bag, right? Like, don't reverse engineer your bag and be like, I want to make X amount of dollars, so I'm not selling until this. That's shooting yourself in the foot. Like, the markets aren't going to go, you know what? Johnny really wants this to make this much money. Let's get him there, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. So scale out, use these targets in here, leave some of your bag from there. What we do, guys, to measure, hey, is this even worth a long-term hold, right? Like, especially if you guys are entering from now, let's say you're trying to enter XLM right now, 36 cents, give or take. What does that look like if we're to be a long-term hold? So what I do is I measure from worst case scenario. We can also measure from best case scenario. We're going to do both, but I measure from worst case scenario, meaning we only hit take profit one, right? Our initial target. And we're going to measure back what altcoins typically do, right? We have yet to see a cycle where most altcoins don't come down 80, 85, or 90%, or even more, 95, 99. We've seen altcoins do minus 99%, right? So let's just say, okay, like Gavin and I talking about, my market's maturing a little bit. We see a slight less drawdown. So let's say between 85 and 90% drawdown, right? And I think that's still pretty reasonable. From $1.68, $1.50, the 1.618. If we were to come down 80%, that would put us at 29 cents. If we were to come down 90%, that would put us around 14 cents. Now we get out to a full extension here, right, to our 389, which would be the upper end of our expectations over at Crypto Charge, and we measure down 80%. That puts us around 75 cents. And if we were to see minus 90%, that puts us around 35 cents, right around break even, right? So if you're a person that was a part of our program, right, and you guys were DCAing here under 14 cents, 8 cents, 7 cents, you do have that option and flexibility, because pretty much in any of these scenarios, you're still going to be up on whatever portion of the bag you want to hold as a long-term bag. You entering now at 36 cents, you guys can see in all of these scenarios, none of these really provide you an overall advantage based on what we've seen historically with drawdown for altcoins. The only situation, right, where you'd be up a bit on your bag is if we got a blow off top towards that $7 plus target. We see minus 80%, that puts you around $1.39. If you see minus 90%, it puts you around 72 cents. So in this scenario, if you were to enter XLM today, you would need to not only exceed our take profits 1, 2, and 3, you need to get to an 8 extension and basically see a blow off top. That would provide you a overall risk to reward ratio that's worth a long-term hold. So I think that there's other opportunities that are worth a long-term hold right now. You missed a long-term hold opportunity on XLM, so use this as a cycle-based trade.
Good analysis there, Matt. I think they're going to think this is one sick joke of a show because we cover XRP all the time. And then you go ahead and say, yeah, buy XLM over XRP. I hope you guys know how consistent Matt is when he says that, because he's going to the charts and he's looking at risk to reward. And so you can't say we're not consistent here, team. I did want to give some of the stellar coverage today because I was mind blown. I mean, I don't know how long I went there on that little rant going through all of the quick bullet points there on all the news that was being broke last week, but it is pretty tremendous, and it is something you need to be paying attention to. I know you guys can maybe get lost in the sauce when you go into CoinMarketCap and you look at the top 20, because there is a lot of news. Like, if you look at Ethereum's got a lot of news coming out every single week, just like Hedera, just like Stellar. And so this isn't, again, I don't ever want to be like, oh, let's just stack up all the evidence and then it's good. We want to be doing serious analysis. We want to be showing that the network has real use cases. If it's not an idea network, if we are investing into, because that's where we're coming from. We're coming out of an era where everything was just an idea network. Now we're heading into an era where all of my assets are providing real world value today. And you can invest into their native cryptocurrencies, and it's really not that hard to do so there. So team, don't pass this up. Just kind of close out here, because I did want to get to this other news here. And I don't know if anyone has really told the younger audience here, but really following the tracks that your parents and your grandparents did, or following the conventional things in your life, I think will actually make you a simpleton. And I think as you get older, you need to be thinking outside of the box. I'm not speaking to the rich boomers. I'm really speaking to a Gen Z audience. Matt, I actually saw one of my close people at Biola just sent me a presentation I gave at Biola my senior year, where I was presenting on inflation to my graduating class in my department. I gave this presentation on how inflation is corrupting you and how you are suffering from inflation and don't even realize it. And as I was watching that presentation of my 21, 22-year-old self, I just remember speaking out into the audience, and the audience there of, 20, 27-year-old kids like smirking and laughing. And I remember that vividly in my head when I watched this weekend. And you know what I thought to myself? I was like, I wonder where they're at now. I wonder if they're smirking about that now, where we see like core inflation accumulating, 17% from 2021 to 2025. Your purchasing power of your dollar is being devalued. I went in that speech and I capped it off with, you need to invest into digital assets, because if you don't, you will remain regular or poor. And I really wanted to stress that to you guys today on the show. We didn't get into the news article, but I did want to stress that to you guys. You guys that are my age, which is a lot of the times the people I'm speaking to, I'm never really, the older boomers, they come here, they watch the show and they're getting the insights or whatever, but I feel very bad for my generation every single time I talk to someone in my generation, Matt, because, 16 to 24-year-olds, you are seeing the highest level of unemployment rate since COVID. You're seeing a 10.5% unemployment rate with people my age. They are not being able to buy a home. They are depressed. And the only way you're going to be able to get out of it is, from a physical standpoint, once you get past that mental, I can't help you with your mentality. You're gonna have to work on that on your own. But when you can physically go get a job, make your 50, 60, 70 grand a year, you need to be investing into crypto. It is a must. It is the best asset class out there. And there's no reason for you to skip it. If you be an investor trying to seek other investments, that's fine. This is a great opportunity for you. Matt, anything to cap off with on that kind of front as it relates to, am I too late to invest into crypto?
No, guys, you have to be, when you're in a bullish cycle, you have to be a little bit more picky about what you guys do get involved with, right? You want to make sure that you're setting yourself up to ride the portion of the cycle that you're in the best. But it's definitely not too late to get invested in crypto, and it's never too late to start learning, right? Like, I think everyone only wants to learn when things are absolutely ripping, and then they got a million questions and they need to help you right then and right there, and I need all the attention right now, right? But just like anything, right? Like, you don't want to start figuring out what you want to do for a job when you're unhappy at your job or whatever it is. You know that you want to make that change. You got to start looking, right? Don't wait until things get bad at your job and then start looking, right? You need to take some strides ahead of that. So same thing with your investing here. If you guys are really, really young, right, and you're like, I don't have any experience, I'm having a difficult time, how do I get ahead, right? I've actually seen a lot of good opportunities, and I'm not shitting you guys here, in fast food right now, especially the big chains. They're paying $20 an hour, plus they're doing 401k matches at places like Panda Express. You guys can use those 401k opportunities to basically allow you to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, ETFs, and have your employer match, right? It doesn't have to be huge about money. It's about getting started, right? So if you guys are you're finishing college, or you're getting out of high school, you're trying to figure out what that looks like, just start, right? It's all about getting that snowball going, and then once you start tucking some money away, you can utilize that money in other ways. Once we get through a cycle, you guys can compound those gains into another cycle. It's all about that snowball effect. So don't look at all these influencers that say, look at my Lambo, look at this, I made $300,000, right? Yeah. Most of the time that didn't happen all at once, right? There's a variety of reasons why that happens. Some people come from a lot of money, right? And they don't tell you that a lot of their parents are supporting all of this. So don't feel bad. Don't compare yourself. Just start, whatever that means. Crypto is one of those industries that you can start with $1, $2, $3, or $5, right? You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You don't have to buy all this crazy stuff. Chip away a little bit at a time. Start building something for yourself. That's really all it comes down to, guys. Is not coming in perfectly, but starting and having a budget for yourself, even if it means $20 a week, $30 a week. Get started.
Lovely. Love that. Team, just to cap off here, quick announcements. Matt and I had a little conversation last week on Friday, and we're going to be bringing more to you guys. We're going to be bringing more to you on social. We are going to continue our after hours show, and we've set out a slot on Thursdays to do TikTok lives, because the last one, if you guys were watching, as I was watching, Maddie was on a tear. And it was towards the end of it, Matt, like, we were about to close out, and then like 30 or 40 people just flooded in. It ended up being like 134 or 140 people watching live on TikTok. So it was pretty incredible. I was extremely excited for Matt there. So that was pretty great. So if you want to catch those are going to be on Thursdays. As it relates to the Ask Maddie show, I did want to talk about this with you guys, because the Ask Maddie show is near and dear to my heart. And I told Matt last week, I was like, hey, bro, I think it's time for you to do it on your own, dude. Honestly, I just want to see you. I just want to see you rock and do that on your own. Because if you guys have been around for a while, that was the first show Matt and I ever did together in January of 2023. And so Matt's going to be rocking with you guys on Wednesdays with the questions you have. So make sure you show him a lot of support. Last week's show got like 5,000 views. It was ridiculous. It was an amazing show.
Appreciate the love, guys. Thank you so much. When you guys leave those likes and those comments, especially, guys, that helps push our video out to other people. And even if you guys don't sign up for our program, it means a lot to me that education gets out to as many people as possible, because I truly want people to be educated and make good decisions. Eventually, if those good decisions lead to a membership, great. But seriously, guys, that means the world to me when you guys leave the engagement on those videos.
Yeah. So you're going to get your after hours on Monday. You're going to see me and Matt every single Monday. And then we did add an optional after hours filming session on Thursday. So you might get 2 after hours in a week. We might do that on a Thursday, maybe once or twice a month, maybe for like an interview that may or may not be coming up. So there's no interview coming up, actually. Nothing's been established. I just wanted to get the people going, So team, that's what we have. We will see you guys on our next show. Bye.